me at face value. You know I live within it.
DoorDash LCO, time for match number 2 coming up shortly. Jordan, what are you doing with your hands there?
I'm dancing to the DoorDash music.
Yes, good. I love
how it is.
Jordan dancing. You're pretty good at karate as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I've seen some very
you better watch out.
explicit images of you doing that. Hopefully, we get to leak those at some point because they never got to see the light of day. Anyway, that's a little taster for you, and we'll see if that one can get released.
Tasty like a DoorDash dinner.
Yes, tasty just like a DoorDash dinner. Now, Rusty, are you excited for game number 2 of the day?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am. It's the El Clasico of old with an entirely new flavor Mac for both of these teams today. So definitely excited to see what they both bring to the table, given how, I want to say, wild they've been in the past.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot that it was the El Clasico because when we're looking at all the other games at this moment in time, it's almost like the other games have sort of more contention in what could happen. But that being said, Legacy have gotten really close a few times and are still sort of vying for maybe making it to the playoffs. I'm hoping that they can, and if they could take down the Chiefs today, that would be a huge statement in that run to the playoffs. So let's have a quick chat about from the fans, because we have some memes, actually, before we do get into the matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for our current and future and always here meme lord, Darantaris, again with another big meme, providing the content from the fans, so we still have this segment, so it's still funded by the people. Now, this is his Twitch chat, or his predictions, rather, his meme predictions. So far, looking pretty good. So let's see if he's going to be getting 4 from 4 today. What are your thoughts on this one, Rusty?
I really enjoyed the, because we have the context of game number 1. It's perfect. Just looking at the rest of the memes in here, I am more confused about David versus Goliath than anything else on this one. I'm just not sure that that's the take. But we'll see, Darantaris. We'll see. I think they're more evenly matched than that.
Yeah, but so what is he implying with that? Is he implying that he thinks Peace are the favourites to win, or does he think that Direwolves is going to get the win? Because
surely
Direwolves is going to be the David to the Goliath and take him down, I think is what he's trying to say. So he's going for DW today.
Oh, interesting.
Which is fine as a prediction. It's just weird that the Goliath is... I suppose with the roster changes, you could make that assumption.
I think you could make that argument.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think contextually, it's a very good meme. Now, we do have one more piece of submitted content. That, of course, is an op.gg review from someone in the Twitch chat. So that is Intersaurus at Twitch chat submission. So if you guys have... if you want to put your op.ggs in Twitch chat, I'm sure we can wrangle those back and put them on the broadcast too.
You know what?
Yes.
I actually thought this was one of Skimmy's OPGGs. But
it is all ARAM. Very true, very true. So that could...
is this a support ticket or a Twitch chat submission? Because I swear, like, this account... there's so many deaths in there. All I'm saying is pretty possible. It's somewhat intentional.
yeah.
Maybe
I just want to know how they've won a game with a 0-18 Trundle in ARAM. How's
Limit
that happen?
testing. Limit testing. And AFK and your teammates probably do a good job. Look, 12 assists. He did all right.
I will say, I think ARAM's a lot easier to 4v5 in
I'm
than
really
than Summoner's
interested
Rift.
to see what his ranked solo.
Was that their account, or were they trying to expose a friend? That's my only question.
I think I was in Twitch chat when he submitted that one, and he said it was his. I don't know if it was, but maybe it was. It goes with his name, so hopefully it all sort of works out. Anyway, let's have a quick chat about the game, because that's what we're mostly here for, as well as Darantaris' sick memes. Now, Legacy and Chiefs, it's going to be a bit of a battle. The El Clasico, you love to see it. And Legacy, let's talk them first. So they found a bit of success last week, and unfortunately for you, Rusty, there's going to be no Kha'Zix because there's going to be no Why Not. It's still Sybil there in the jungle.
Hey, you want to talk about junglers who can play it, though. Sybil definitely still one of those players.
Mm-hmm.
He may not be the expert, but yes, it is going to be Sybil starting today. And Legacy, last time we saw them, I believe it was against Order, where the sentiment was that they just draft-gapped Order into another dimension. The solid gameplay still, though, was my takeaway from it. Because they, once again, having Curzio on the Viego, the highlight hunter himself, getting constant multi-kills in team fights, Sybil's Echo was the unique pick. But it delivered come late game with one of the greediest builds I think I have seen to date. But still, they made it work, and more we're seeing impressive work from Winterer. Now, I will say today, I don't know if the Chiefs will give them the luxury of the comp that they got with both Viego and Gwen on it, but we'll have to see.
I really hope that we can see Winterer playing a whole game in those crazy sunnies that he had on last week, because they were beautiful, they were sick, and that would be a true statement, especially if you beat Chiefs with it. However, I don't know if that's going to happen. Chiefs, though, are going to be a hard battle for them. But before we jump into talking Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, have a quick look at this one. It is the team profile from Legacy from the start of the season. Yeah, those glasses. They're beautiful glasses. So, did you not see him? Where were you? You were too busy. You're a busy man. Well,
I just felt like that was the perfect segue, Mac. That's all I was saying.
The perfect segue?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, for everyone that also doesn't know what's been happening with Legacy, have a quick look at this.
Red weapon, so he can heal as well. This is the fight.
Oh my god! Happy!
Not
It
enough.
could have been a 1v4. It really could have been. He'll take down one, but then he needs some respawns. Violet is now respawning. Their Nexus is exposed. I have never seen a game turn on its head so quickly. And Legacy do the unthinkable.
Like in split one, we didn't really have as much time to practice going into the split. I'd say it was kind of thrown together.
Split one, we didn't even make it to top 4. So it was really sad.
We had a couple of losses that we shouldn't have, I think, lost. We threw a lot, and we just want to be able to close our games cleanly, because I think we can take games with most teams.
So when we do get behind early, it's pretty rough for us. So we've been trying to work on getting less tilted from the early game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say in split 2, I'd like to get at least one VARD game. I feel like I've been held back.
Unlike other LCO teams, our team is like LPL team. We're really aggressive.
I feel like people underrate us a lot. But if we can make it this far, we can take it all the way.
We feel like a completely different team, I think. It means a lot to play for a team that you're comfortable with. It helps you like make decisions better and, you know, trust your teammates and just celebrate the wins and, you know, take the losses in a good stride as well.
Survive, which is doing a good job of. Incursio still alive in the thick of things, by the way, helped out by ML, and he might just get one more here, or maybe even 2. Claire down, now Cupcake as well, and that is another bunch of gold in the back pocket for Incursio.
Most common thing seen in team comms is telling Incursio where the jungler is, because he seems to forget a lot of the time.
It's just Incursio memeing around saying stuff from his stream like Wheeze or Ooga Booga. He says that, like, I don't even know what that shit means, but he just says it, and I say it too because it's funny as fuck.
It would be sick to be able to show like what we're made of as like a team.
I think it would just be really cool to get them to Worlds. So if anything, I want to do it for my team.
I think people should be excited to see what new tricks we can bring out. I think for a team that's always willing to try new things.
I think now it's about bringing the team together and like putting up really good performances as a team.
Just don't expect us to lose fast. Just expect us to put up a fight.
Just be careful of us pulling out Katarina.
Keep checking out my socials. I mean, every time we win, I guarantee there will be a meme up there and it'll be a banger.
Well, the one time we did get to see Katarina, it didn't go too well, did it? But maybe there's hope for Incursio to get it on the draft once or twice more, although a lot of teams still just, you know, ban it away. They don't want to risk what could happen because they saw what happened last split. However, we have enjoyed what we've seen from Incursio, changing it up, going for those different champ picks in mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really high on his ability to play the Viego. He chucked an Aatrox in there as well. There's been a couple of really surprising picks from him. Things that I'm looking forward to, though, is a more refined Legacy around a more diverse champion pool, and his champion pool is obviously the first big step for that happening. And now it's Sybil unleashing the depth of his champion Ocean as a result of mid lane being more freed up.
Well, there you have it. Now let's have a quick chat about Chiefs as well. Jordan, tell me, what's so good about these guys? Why are they up towards the top of the table? Why are they so damn good at this game?
Well, it's really everything across the board, isn't it? I feel like they're all sort of coming together as a roster and performing to their peak at this point in time this season. I mean, we've spoken at length about Kisei. We've talked about Swaith up in the top lane. Things have been going fantastically for Lived as well. And I feel like Dragku and Mboma really complement one another very, very nicely as well. Obviously, Mboma's playstyle sort of opening up this roam ability for Dragku, where he sort of seems to be all over the map causing problems. And it's not like an int, right? It's not leaving Mboma out high and dry, struggling down in the bot lane. And Mboma sort of just keeps chugging along down there, picking up farm here and there, and eventually you get to the mid game and go, oh, there's an 80 carry on the Chiefs roster, and he's actually kind of strong as well. So it seems to all just be coming together quite nicely for the Chiefs, I think, is my takeaway. They found themselves a nice style, they make it work, and it seems like no one's found an answer for it really too much this season, I guess with the exception of Peace, who have beaten them twice so far. But aside from that, that's the only losses that Chiefs have suffered. So at least as far as the rest of the season is concerned, I mean, we're looking towards them to very, very likely make it into playoffs. And I mean, at this point, more than likely make it towards the finals as well. But I suppose the real question will be if they do end up going up against Peace in a very important matchup, particularly I'm talking about one in playoffs, you know, will they be able to deal with that? Long way to go there before we get to that point though, Max. So things looking good for Chiefs.
Keen to see once we do get to the playoff stage, and more than just these best of ones, it's when it really gets juicy. But you have to play your heart out to get there. And I think Nat down on the sidelines has 2 players that are going to be playing their hearts out today. Who's down there with you, Nat?
I do. I have Amelg and Lived joining me for this pre-game interview. Thank you both so much for joining me. Amelg, I have to ask, the last time you guys came up against Chiefs, it was a bit of a roughie for you guys. So what did you learn from that last game, and what are you looking to bring into tonight?
I guess the main takeaway from that game was just to not int level 1 and throw the game away from like 2 minutes. So hopefully this time we can last at least 2 minutes.
I like it, going back all the way to the basics of trying to stay alive for more than 2 minutes. I absolutely love it. But Lived, I'm going to actually ask the really important question that I am dying to know the answer to. What Subway did you end up going for with that DoorDash voucher last week?
Well, I've ordered 3 Subways already. I've just been ordering them every day. I've had three chicken schnitzel Subways so far. Just every day I've been ordering the chicken schnitzel sub.
I love it. Well, hopefully we can have another banger performance today so you can get some more Subway for yourself. But obviously opposite side of the page for you guys. It was a really good game for you guys last time you came up against Legacy. And in Split 1, Piece are the only team that you lost against. So is there more pressure to play well against Legacy versus them a second time around?
I wouldn't say so. I think if we just play to our standards, then I think it should be fine. As long as we don't through the game, we just play it averagely, I think we'll be fine. Just gotta watch out for some cheesy plays from them, I think is the biggest point to be taken from this game.
Got to be all over that map somehow. And the other question I had was the Super Week. How does that affect you guys? Do you like it a lot more having 3 games in 1 week?
I think we prefer playing with just 2 days. I think it's easier to prepare for them instead of just it's like quality games over quantity. I think it's just nicer to play and you can prepare for the games a bit more.
Very well said. Amel, what about you? How do you guys feel about the Super Week, and are you looking forward to 3 games this week?
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons, I guess. I do like having 3 games in 1 week because it feels a lot more intense. And if you can get the momentum up early, you can rack up more wins. So yeah, I've been enjoying it so far.
Awesome. I do want to quickly though ask as well, Amel, you guys had that win over Order last week. Is there a lot of momentum coming in to this game for you guys?
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean...
You can say yes, you can be confident.
Okay, yes, yeah, there is. Sure, we'll go with that. There is definitely a lot of momentum, and we're hoping to win together. Yep.
That is exactly what I want to hear from you guys, but thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck in the game today.
Awesome, thank you.
Man, 3 chicken schnitty Subways. I'm a big Lived fan now. If I wasn't a Lived fan before, I've always been a fan of the schnitty. Always big fan of the Schmidt, and now I'm a big fan of Lived too. So let's go and jump into predictions, because I feel like we might have some sneaky ones in here, not on the first page.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
They've stolen all my points, Rusty, and they've given them to you. I can't believe it.
I unmuted. I was too excited, so they would have heard me yelling. I'm back. We're back on top. That's what matters.
It's not fair.
It's not about who I predicted this game. It's about being on top again.
Well, look, I'm glad I've at least got 21 wins on the board. I was very worried that I would never make it to 20, but we did. We got there in the end. Second page, let's have a look at what Nat's gone for. Going for the Chiefs. Oh, we're all for the Chiefs. Oh.
It's pretty similar to the first game. I'd love to see something come out from Legacy. I think they do have a lot of momentum. Even if Amelg isn't going to say it confidently, I'll say it for him. They very much are a momentum-based team, and I hope the confidence is there coming into this Super Week for them. I think they can do it, but ultimately, Chiefs split one looked amazing. I don't see them really faltering at the moment, so it makes sense to go for them.
Yeah, I definitely think that they can do it. However, my prediction is if Twitch chat thinks that they can do it, and if it's going to be Chiefs, if it's going to be Legacy. I know from what I've seen, it's usually there's a lot of Twitch supporters in there that are the Chiefs supporters, so I'm thinking that it's probably going to be a Chiefs prediction, even if Legacy were the favourites, just because they're ballers with all the Twitch points in chat. Now, anyway, you got your predictions in. Hopefully, you get that sorted. Exclamation DoorDash in chat if you haven't had dinner yet, because I had just had mine, and it was lovely. And I hope you can all enjoy that, because there's something else on the menu, and it's more League of Legends. There's Legacy and Chiefs coming at you right now.
The El Clasico, so they say. Doesn't really feel like the El Clasico anymore. I guess I think for me that's probably Pentanet and Peace in LCO, but it certainly is the OPL El Clasico. Wow, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, Rusty, into game 2 of the evening, and immediately we've got the Gwen ban, but interestingly this time through from Legacy.
Yeah, Gwen going to be taken away. I think this is a red side thing for Legacy more so than anything else, right? You have to get rid of the Gwen because it could just be first picked, and we know that Swathe can play it. We know that it is then presumably flexible for the side of Chiefs, and there's a little bit too much to deal with. Viego is going to be the champion in question for me here, because we know Legacy will prioritize it and want to play it, but they are on the red side of the rift, so the priority is still there for the Chiefs. So it makes you wonder, and yeah, has to be banned. And this, like, thinking back to their last game, they were on blue side. They don't get any of the champions that they perhaps would say are ideal for them because they're on red.
Insta lock-in for the Ziggs to start things off for the Chiefs, so it seems like the Ziggs hype train will continue. And look, I like Ziggs, and I've always felt like he's a decent champion, but it feels like those small little tiny buffs that he got have shot him into almost 100% pick ban rate in the LCO at least. I've heard he's actually been picked up a little bit over in China as well from a couple of sources that I'm in contact with.
But internet?
Yeah, the internet? No. Well, yeah, in theory. But I suppose the question up for me, I guess, is he really that good? Just on those 2 little buffs?
I mean, the little buffs aren't necessarily everything, right? Like, the major thing for me is how much standing gold exists on Summoner's Rift now, pre and post 14 minutes. So Ziggs had a place when turret plates came out, because you could smash out like every single plate and have a 5,000 gold lead, right? Which is enough to win a game at 15 minutes. Or you can now, because after 15 minutes, inner turrets still have insane value because of the patch 11-13 changes, just go tearing down turrets around the entire Rift, and Rift Heralds now spawn twice. So like, put all of these little 1%ers into equations, and then the little touch-up that Ziggs got just kind of tips him over the limit, it feels like, as he does too much and provides too much for teams and doesn't really have a losing lane, so why not pick it?
Nice little pick through there as well for Dragku. We know that he's a very, very confident Blitzcrank player, and the Blitzcrank matchup into Thresh actually isn't too bad, as we've mentioned a few times in the LCO when we see this matchup occur. So I think that's a pretty solid pick through for the Chiefs. Kisei, again, going to be onto the LeBlanc, who, you know, was a very, very good champion for him. Yeah, we saw some good stuff from him last week, and so I'm expecting to see some big things again for Kisei.
Sybil. Sybil's pocket pick, we'll call it. We all know that he has the signature release, but the pocket pick is the Zac. It's funny because this is actually a shared champion between Sybil and Swathe. They both have this as their niche option. And Sybil's going to go in the first 3 picks of the game towards the Zac jungle. I'm not going to assume it's flexible. I'm just going to say it goes into the hands of Sybil. If we're seeing junglers banned, that is 100% the case. With the Kayn being removed, perhaps the Evelynn to follow. Actually, you know what? No, it can't be the Evelynn. It needs to be a physical damage champion. They're going to try and limit Swaith's physical champion pool here. And that'll put a top laner on a physical champion, and then I think you actually have Winter being able to play a tank up there into a good matchup. That's what I'd be looking at if I was Legacy.
Yeah, it's interesting actually looking through the rest of the champion pool for Swathe in particular. As far as AD champions that we've seen from him in the jungle, we've actually only seen the Xin and the Viego Everything else has been AP, like Karthus, Sedge, Evelynn, Gwen, Diana. So I'm interested to see what he does actually end up picking here. I mean, Xin certainly is an angle. Viego obviously banned away already, so not an option for the Chiefs. Or does he pull out something new? Speaking of which, see what Legacy actually opts for here now. I'd be very surprised to see the Zyra, much as I'd like to. But he's going to end up being the Sylas, so I have to imagine that is headed towards the mid lane. Curcio has had some pretty decent times on the Sylas, more so last split rather than this split. But I think despite this being the first time we see him picking at this split, still have a high level of confidence in that champion going over to him.
Yeah, no doubt. The Sylas will be pretty well practiced for him. Not exactly the best matchup in terms of ults that you can steal for your lane. Is very good out of that laning phase, as you're seeing just now. Dragu clearly has been listening to the broadcast. So I will give him a shout out because Kha'Zix was something that we brought up at the very top of the show. But with the Kindred locked in, it is not going to be a Kha'Zix picked for top lane you would expect. So this is much more standard. So we've got our physical damage top laner and jungler. Kindred is interesting, and I do wonder if this was a known quantity from Legacy, because it does feel like a bit of a spanner in the works.
Yeah, certainly. Quite interested to see how this one does all pan out. Little stat coming through from, from the Boffins. LeBlanc and Aphelios both with a 100% win rate at 5 games each. So one of them is going to lose this game. So far this split, both of them having not found a loss just yet. But yeah, definitely two very interesting team compositions. Feels like both kind of want to do different things. The Chiefs, I mean, I guess they did need a lot of that physical damage presence. So the Kindred slides quite nicely into that department. Also kind of gives you that AD carry-esque presence. Don't mind that for the Chiefs, but it looks like it's going to be a hard composition to make work. I mean, I think I look at Legacies and I think, okay, that makes a lot of sense. You got Zac, you got Frontline, you got GP in there that's sort of a threat as well, and then keep Aphelios alive and you win the game. Whereas for the Chiefs, it's like, okay, well, we need to find a hook, or we need to find a flanking angle for the LeBlanc, or we need to find some good poke to start the fight off with the Ziggs. Obviously, there's a lot of options for them. But if it all doesn't come together for the Chiefs, this could be a difficult game.
Yeah, so I do agree with that sentiment. I think the difficulty of execution belongs to the Chiefs, where the ease of execution definitely is belonging to Legacy. The individual outplay that exists, however, on this Chiefs side of the coin is something that can play for or against them. May come down to just a case of trying to be better players in this game. Just quickly speaking towards a Legacy composition here as well, I really like the flexibility of where Sybil can play. Because Styled and ML can play weak-sided, more so, Thresh Lanterns to keep the Aphelios healthy and safe. And then you've got Gangplank top lane, who naturally does veer towards being weak-sided, getting less resources. But because both sides can play weak, you can play through mid 2 side lanes and find a really strong place to win the game. And if that doesn't sound like a Legacy comp, Jordan, I don't know what does.
Well, you're not wrong, and there is a lot to unpack when it comes to this draft, so we might go to the man with the master plan, that being Ceres, who again is obviously the coach for the Legacy roster. And look, I'm sure you've got plenty to say about the draft here. I think the first thing I want to start off with here, obviously, is the Viego ban coming through. Is that just purely because you're on the red side and you can't risk giving that over to the Chiefs?
Well, the Viego ban the champion is just inherently really broken. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that. They do play it pretty much everywhere. Not a spoiler, and they're also really good at it. So without a doubt, they would have taken it. So yeah, it's a respect ban from being on red side. Sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess the other question pertaining to the draft then is we've got a couple of interesting picks coming through from the Chiefs here. It feels like a very, very interesting draft from them in general. The one I wanted to touch on in particular was this Kindred, and that to me feels like a bit of a curveball, but was that something that you guys have been able to scout? Was it something you were expecting, or is that a bit of a question mark as far as you're concerned as well?
Well, Chiefs in general is probably the hardest team to draft against. They have all 5 players are extremely flexible. They play a bunch of different styles with a very, very big champion pool. So for the most part, we're not too stressed about the unique picks that they're going to bring. I think that scouting and overthinking their drafts is a waste of time. We have to react to styles, and so different approaches how they're going to play the game. As soon as they picked LeBlanc, we already know that they're going to pair it with something aggressive and invasive, right? Basically, we can't really get rid of them all. So whether he has Xin or if he has Kindred or whatever, it's basically functionally going to be the same. So there's no point, right? So in our case, we just banned for team composition and chose to veer away from that path. Just to, I guess, to more concisely answer your question, nah, not really. Didn't really think too much about the Kindred, but it doesn't really matter.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm interested to see how the game does play out regardless. Obviously, last time you guys played against the Chiefs, which was in week 2, that was a loss for yourselves. But I do feel like it's kind of a different brand of Legacy that we're seeing now as opposed to back then, right? That was kind of before this massive resurgence that you guys have had. So are you feeling maybe a little bit more confident coming into today, or how? I guess just basically the TLDR is how are you guys feeling coming into this match against the Chiefs, who are theoretically looking like the top dogs in LCO at the moment?
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair point, because Chiefs is really the only team that I'd say we haven't proved ourselves against. Every time we played against Chiefs, we've gotten smashed. And so today's a really important game. I do feel much more confident, much more than we've ever been facing Chiefs. So if there's ever a time for us to win it, I think it's now.
Awesome. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it, because I imagine if you do, it's going to be a very, very interesting game to watch. Either way, thank you very much for your time again, Series. And
the
best of luck.
celebrations. All right. Thanks. See ya.
Well, hopefully there will be some celebrations for the Legacy lads, because I would look forward to a game like that, Rusty. But tell me about what's been going on in this one so far. A lot of invades. Maybe I'll hold that thought for the moment, because Kisei has baited Incursio perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice little first pick up there. Didn't miss the first blood through the coach interview, so we can thank everyone for that one. Well done to the Chiefs for holding off. But what we have missed through the early stages of the game is basically just the Chiefs smashing the jungle. Sybil's going to have to dash away here. He's going to lose a chunk of his health as well. The control ward's fine. It's not going to save him. At the end of the day, what happens, right, is we have a late invade from Chiefs. It was spotted. The sweeper didn't actually clear the ward. So you're thinking, that's pretty good for Legacy. They can vertical jungle here. You know, they can handshake. And then because mid and top both have priority, that doesn't exist. So realistically, the decision to invade from the Chiefs was just good. The follow-up was a complete shutout of Sybil getting any jungle camp.
Oh, what a hook from Draku as well. Slides it past the creeps, but it might well still be his death. Sybil flying over the wall. Not enough of a concern as Draku's able to flash away.
I mean, sentence to live there this time from ML. Not going to be able to hit the hook on someone who's basically stuck in position. It's really unfortunate there from Legacy, because the follow-up from the Zac was good. A bit of a tragedy. I think they'll be pretty upset with the outcome of that one, but nevertheless, the hooks are nuts. And it's a scary place to be.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for more. Styled is not going to be feeling too confident in that lane. Not at the moment anyway. Incursio also a kill down in mid, and we know what kind of player he can be. If he gets the ball rolling, things tend to go very, very well for him, but the same is sometimes true in the opposite direction. There's a gank from Sybil.
No flash on the Zac, the Blitz.
Probably not going to get too much from this. Death sentence, no, never mind. It's landed. Draku surely done. The kill will go the way of ML. But again, early kills onto support's not the worst thing in the world.
Still credit where it's due, right? Makes up for lost time there, makes up for the mishook earlier. He's able to hit one this time around Draku, well out of position. They caught him trying to recall there a couple of times. I knew he had limited resources, so fair play to Legacy. But once again in mid. Oh, don't know if he wanted that one.
Chains don't connect. Yeah, I'm questioning it myself as well. He's obviously level 5 to Kisei 6, so may not be feeling too confident.
I will say, though, in conclusion to the early game jungle pathing, it's been a masterclass from Chiefs as a team, ensuring that Swaith has a good crack at it, and the advantages speak for themselves.
Swaith waiting patiently, jumps over the wall, grabs himself the Grom. And Sybil is left empty-handed. Now Winter under a bit of pressure as well, as Liv heads in his direction, but all's well and done up there in the top lane. Again, I mean, I want to sort of draw attention to Draku already outside of bot. Level 4 on that Blitzcrank, just gone a roaming. And that's going to be fine. And Boma's on the Ziggs, very, very safe laner, able to just continue to clear the waves. And let's Draku roam around and do what he can.
Yeah, forces the teleport out of mid lane to respond. So neither mid lane having teleports. Sybil
does land on top of the set, but as ever, a set going to be quite difficult to deal with. Punch comes through. Now Swaith looking for the counter gank. Is just level 5. Lived has Showstopper available. See what he can do here. Surely the follow-up. There we go. Winter cops a big chunk of damage. And there's a few blobs on the ground that'll be swiftly dealt with by Sway. Perfect execution from the Chiefs.
Yeah, very well played by the mid lane. Gonna have a duel as well here, and Curzio wants to try his might, but is not going to be able to execute, and that does actually mean that he loses out pretty significantly in that health trade. Hook gonna miss, but the top lane trade, Jordan, massively in favor of Chiefs, and you can see what Legacy are thinking. It's just that they don't have a measure of where this Kindred is, and Swaith has free reign to play League of Legends as he would like right now. And very obviously he's going to choose to counter gank the top wave, as the dive was pretty obvious. And a level 6 set, able to do some serious work and stop a Zac Elastic Slingshot from hitting the ground.
Might be a little bit of a bait here from Liv. Swaith's position, is it known by Wintra? Not sure, I'd say so. Seems to be playing quite passively at this point in time, but just look at the CS discrepancy between the junglers at the moment, plus the 2 kills going over to Swaith. You think it's going to be a very difficult game for Sybil to get anything done in. He's going to be followed around the map by Swaith in the mid lane. Incursio gets himself a solo kill onto Kisei, who just hung around a little bit too long. Bit too big for his boots, maybe. And in the end, Incursio punishes him.
Yeah, I think frankly you can see a bit of the hubris of the young man in the mid lane. He's definitely got the abilities to keep up with the best in the league, but sometimes it gets the better of him. And we've seen that intermittently throughout the split as well. This is no exception. Fair play, and Curzio gets himself a solo kill. You'd be happy about that one if you're Legacy, particularly because he is your beacon of strength who leaves lane and influences the rest of the map. But Kisei with flash available just straight up cops the chains and dies for it. That is a mistake if I ever saw one.
Yeah, definitely should not be getting solo killed like that, especially on a LeBlanc. So much mobility available either way. The Oblivion Orb investment early on in the piece from Kisei, so he wants to take that fight to Incursio, remove as much of the healing as possible. Boma, having just ticked over to level 7 now, is feeling even more safe in that bot lane. Mega Inferno bomb, as required, can clear waves as well. Top still seems to be a little difficult here for Winterer as this wave gets shoved in again.
You can see the stats of Liv there on your screen, and I was thinking to myself about this earlier. This really is Lived split. You know, Chiefs currently on top, and I feel like I've been constantly complimenting and constantly crediting a lot of their advantages and victories to the top laner of the Chiefs. He's been having an outstanding crack at it, and unfortunately now he's in trouble.
Another gank up into the top lane, but do they have enough damage to dispatch? Oh, Liv, Swaith arrives, keeps him safe with Lamb's Respite, and all of a sudden the fight turns back on its head. Winterer solo against 3, and the Haymaker was held for so long by Liv that it ended up being a pretty comfortable win for the Chiefs in that top fight. And Curzio forced to flash away as well. All coming up Chiefs at the moment.
There are no caster curses today. Bot lane fighting.
Oh, indeed. Mega Inferno bomb flashed away by Styled. Maybe Legacy can turn something back on its head here. ML trying desperately to get that kill onto Dranku and will secure it. But Mboma needs to only land one more bomb to find that kill. Styled can't come back quick enough to save ML. And it ends up being a 1-for-1. But the kill goes to Mboma and to ML. So now 2 kills on that Thresh. I'd say Styled is starting to feel a little bit undone by.
Yeah, Styled seemingly trying to keep Mboma keen. That's a teleport. Good luck, Styled.
He's going to try and get out of there, but it's LeBlanc, and, well, unfortunately, you don't escape a LeBlanc. He'll just jump right on top of him, and that's the end of Styled, so works out, again, in the favor of the Chiefs.
And just, again, maybe not keeping track of summoner spells could be something you'd say there. Drake also going to freeze the way for him in mid, so nice guy support. And Mboma.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
A lot of unnecessary deaths currently happening in bottom lane. Yes. It feels like both AD carries have overstayed their welcome in a place that was most definitely not welcome. And both have suffered.
A bit of exploring inside of his own jungle here. Doesn't quite manage to connect the death sentence, and the teleport through from Winterer ends up being wasted as Swaith escapes into the topside jungle.
Yeah, geez, I mean, if the hook hits, that could be a different story that we'd be telling here. Sybil going to have a crack at least keeping Kisei at bay. But from that teleport, you've got top pushing, you've got a Herald ready to be summoned, maybe not even necessary to be summoned on this turret. And Lived actually just threatening a dive, zoning him away from the turret completely. Big win still from the Chiefs.
Yeah, superior rotations coming through from them at the moment. Swaith is able to clean up the top tower as easy as you like. And, you know, we talk about Ziggs being the one that tends to find those early turrets. And, I mean, Ziggs is on this team, but that turret doesn't have anything to do with Mboma at the moment. You see the Aphelios ultimate again, invests at Drag, who looks for a hook but can't get anything, and Incursio's there. It's a double kill in the bot lane for Legacy, one of which will be donated actually over to Styled, which is great news. He's been without a kill so far, definitely been looking to get the ball rolling.
But still the cost is just so high. The transaction of a good play down in bottom, you know, another teleport expended, is going to result in another turret pre-14 minutes falling down in favor of the Chiefs. So we can compliment them, but you have to look at what's being taken. First of all, that's a mark as well given to Sway. 2 turrets worth of gold has stretched the gold lead out. Legacy will be happy they've got kills, and I think anyone who's a Legacy fan should be happy they're getting an injection of gold into their mid laner and, like you mentioned, Styled. But nothing beyond that speaks positively yet.
Drag, who doesn't make the mistake of checking the bush, but is he going to get caught by the death sentence here? Full connection from Sybil and from Styled. Dragku survives, and into blob form goes Sybil. He might actually be in a spot of bother here because Ziggs is going to be able to hit all 4 at once.
Oh, gross.
Perfect. Well done from Mboma. Swaith arrives just to force Legacy back. In fact, can he actually get followed up on here? Dark Passage. Keep Styled safe for now, but he's still hanging around. And Swaith is just doing so much damage.
Yeah, I think he just massively underestimated the strength of Swaith there, but that is a Kraken Slayer Kindred that is 4-0-2 now after that kill. And you're not going to disrespect him ever again. You're not going to make that same mistake again, are you? Because Swaith just slammed the door in your face and perhaps slams the door shut on any opportunity to come back in this game.
Yeah, look, a Kindred that starts to get ahead is a very, very big problem. I'm not seeing too many answers on the Legacy side at the moment. Managed to clear out some more of Sybil's jungle, so he gets to feel even sadder despite managing to grab some lane XP. 3% of the Twitch predictions going the way of Chiefs, so Mac will be happy with proceedings thus far. So will the majority of the Twitch chat at least.
I definitely have my reservations for the rest of this game if you're looking for anything extra from Legacy here. In saying that, anytime you look at Legacy and you discredit them, even for a moment, they'll find an angle that you couldn't even comprehend. You know, they're just that type of team, the unbridled aggression. There's plenty to compliment from them, but from this deficit, you know, against a Kindred, against a Set, against a lot of champions that are really hard to actually get onto and dive, very difficult and a lot easier said than it is done from this point. You know, Herald should be a free take for the Ziggs composition. Inner turret should start to fall. Right now you're looking at mythic item spikes, perhaps level 13 for Winter is another big benchmark for turning this up.
9 stacks for Swaith at the moment. Pretty early on in the game, getting them ticking over nicely. Difficult to deal with.
Did you say 9?
I said 9.
9.
Yes.
On Kindred.
Yes.
You what?
I'm not trolling.
That's actually disgusting.
Yeah. He's been doing well for himself, hasn't he? I mean, I guess there's no surprises considering he's pretty much been farming Sybil's jungle the entire game.
No, that's unfair. He actually 1v5s at this point, man.
Well, I mean, it kind of already looks like he was, so yeah. I would have to agree with you. I'm sure he's going to find a few more than 9 at the rate that he's going. I mean, Legacy have just been completely shoved out of their entire map. They don't have any control of their own jungle. They can barely walk past their turrets, otherwise they're going to die. I mean, you're going to see it right now. Incurcio, he's just dead. Sway is looking for that extra stack, and he's got it. That's 10 now, Rusty.
Because he needs 10.
Yeah.
Jeez, this is an absolute weapon.
10 is better than 9.
That's actually very true. I will not argue that one at all. But still, I mean, that's an insurmountable difference right now between these junglers. Sybil, for what it's worth, Sybil's still going to be able to do his role as a Zac, but I mean, this Kindred, This is definitely an M4 angle if ever I've seen one. Just going to be able to, if necessary, 1v9 this one. He doesn't need to, right? He's got a big mid laner. He's got a big top laner. They've been doing a lot of work of their own right, and they set him up to succeed. And he's just able to do that final bit, you know, press that last bit over and put himself in the lead.
Yeah. The only one that's really been struggling so far this game has been Dragku, but to be fair, he hit a couple of nicer hooks earlier on in the game, and Blitz is one of those champions that it really does not matter what your scoreline is. You can just hit one God hook later on in the game, and that's it. So Dragku's still going to have that potential, whether he's 0-4 or 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you got the Moby boots, you run around quickly, and that's all you need.
I mean, he's definitely not going to be the player that delivered, but he is still going to be able to deliver enemies towards his allies for sure for the rest of this one. I think we all know who that front runner may well be. We're only 18 minutes into this one, and I think just feeling the difference in this game, it does feel a little bit later than that one. And even considering that inner turrets are still alive for Legacy, they still have a fighting chance in terms of map.
They look to try and catch Kisei, but Distortion keeps him safe, and now Teleport coming through.
Both.
Oh, the collapse from the Chiefs. There's a little bit of a response from Incursio, but he gets picked right back on up as well. The showstopper. Look at the backline. It's getting melted. And it's funny to say it because it's the backline Sybil. The backline Zach. Lived was in there just doing so much damage, and well, the Chiefs come away with a couple more.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, Lived flips the fight, right? Just uses the set ultimate, takes the carries back towards his tanks, routes them. Zig's ultimate going to be able to lock them down as well. Got a Herald getting summoned in mid lane. It'll most likely get 2 charges off. And Winterer, nowhere to be seen. The Magician in top lane definitely hasn't had a single bit of influence in this game. Struggling to find any kind of work. Charge will, of course, go off.
Difficult to find any avenue into this game, I think, for all of the Legacy players. Really, the only one that's had any reasonable success has been Incursio, and that was, you know, largely due to the solo kill onto Kisei, but that has fallen off already as well. Yeah. Look at this. The lockup from Liv was so good. Nice hook from Dragku connecting onto ML, and what more really is there to say about that fight? There's just nothing to be done for Legacy at the moment. This will be another Dragon for the Chiefs. With that, another stack over to our friend Swaith. Lived is caught up. Haymaker keeps him alive for a second longer, but Swaith is able to get over the wall into relative safety. Say arrives, puts Sybil down to bed. Incursio, the focus of fire. It's a very prolonged fight right now that's going all which ways. Kisei still trying to deal with Sybil, and ML, this is a death sentence onto Swaith, which opens the door for what might end up actually being a bit of a 1v3 from him. Kisei does arrive from the flank after having dealt with Sybil. And all said and done, another win for the Chiefs, although at least some response from Legacy. Swaith's going to keep going, does have Lamb's Respite available, but has to back off now.
Plays a dangerous game there with the last Q coming out of the gangplank, but just not going to get collected for the rest of his health bar, and is able to get himself out to safety. 5,500 damage in the last team fight. I mean, what more do you say? Ziggs is going to walk mid, satchel charge, how do you do? The turret's gone. Baron basically ready and waiting for them. And once again, you know, it was a pick that Legacy start with. It was around the Dragon, however, and the Dragon was already gone. This game is going from bad to worse, but it's also going the expected direction because Chiefs have continued to win these fights.
Dragku threatening. Bowman will be cancelled by ML though, who's ballsy enough to at least go for that. 3-3 from ML. Been getting a lot of the kills, which is quite unfortunate at this point for Legacy. You'd be wondering what those 3 kills could do on someone else. Either way, the inhibitors haven't been broken yet. So with that, maybe a still a ray of hope for Legacy.
I was going to say that before with the inner turrets, but then of course the Herald gets summoned and a team fight gets lost. And the thing with Legacy, I don't think they like to lose slowly.
No, Sybil is perhaps going to give you a good example of that. Charges right in there. That Mega Inferno bomb landed on 3 or 4. Lamb's Respite keeping Swaith and Dragku alive, and Swaith jumps over the wall, but instantly deleted by Styled. A counteracting Kindred ultimate comes through from Incursio, which keeps Legacy actually relatively healthy. And Styled had a bit more time to work that fight than he thought he would. Kisei now starting to arrive. First distortion through. Death sentence, not enough to keep Kisei down as he pops back to safety. And eventually it'll be too much for Legacy. You know what? It almost looked like a good fight. But the gold diff is just so big.
For just a moment there, I thought that Incursio had broken Swait's ankles so hard with using the Kindred's ultimate at the end of his own that maybe they had enough gas in the tank to win a fight there. But just too many members on the Chiefs are strong here. We can speak about it constantly, how much damage Swaith can do in these fights as I'm getting baited by replays. But at the end of the day, you've got Set still putting in work. You've got Kisei, who has been quietly achieving this entire game, right, with really good flank angles and just constantly finding his way into the backline to threaten the rest of Legacy. Anyone who thinks that they're doing well positionally gets completely flipped on their head. But we can compliment Incursio for saying correct usage of the Kindred ultimate and correct usage of getting into the fight to bait Swaith out. Because Swaith jumps out of his own ult, by the way, thinking that it was gone. That's why he dies.
Yep. Teleport through from Wintero just to get back into the fray a little bit sooner. Aku looking for something with that Hex Flash. Hasn't found anything really too much just yet. But still floating around, and Blitzcrank is going to be scary. Sybil going to go again. Probably not with the teammates that far back.
Correct skin, I will say as well, from Dragu here, just quietly. The pink chromas are objectively the best chromas in League of Legends, so...
The more you know.
There's really no contest on that one.
I got a soft spot for green chromas.
Oh, they're the exclusive ones though, aren't they? More often than not, the green ones are like streamer loot.
I'm not sure. I'm not really a skin aficionado anymore.
You're just picking colours.
Yeah.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
I mean, in the meanwhile, there's a Baron going on. Sybil's going to jump over the wall a little bit too early, and the smite goes through. I don't even think that was the smite from Sybil that stole it, but we'll have to have a look back on the replay. Showstopper from Lived is going to get him back into the fray. And unfortunately for Legacy, they do get the Baron, but they don't really give themselves that much of a chance of defending this inhib now.
I mean, look, he just gets in and just thieves away the Baron buff, gets given a lantern out to safety. Sybil is going to stay alive. This is an Infernal Soul, however, that will still go the way of the Chiefs. They got a couple of kills for this one as well, so ultimately I don't think Chiefs will be upset that the Baron was stolen. That was pretty much just a 50-50 burger flip at the Baron buff. And they still come out on top from it, but hey, that's a big win for Legacy because it does buy them time. It denies them an end game if you were Chiefs. Doesn't mean the game's easy, just that they get more chances.
Yeah. So the tower goes down. Chiefs going to reset. Gold in the back pocket. Lived goes past the Baron pit, which is lit up like a Christmas tree. Lots of wards in there. Looking very pretty. But you have to imagine, Infernal Soul. How many stacks do we have? Let's get a stack check for Swaith. 14. And the Ziggs.
How much range is that giving?
It's not going to be fun. I don't think I can see on the tooltip.
I tried Googling it mid-game and it wasn't showing up for me, even though I'm on the wiki. So let's just say it gives him a lot. I think it's at like 7 marks it starts putting you on the Baron buff because it doesn't really expect you to get more past that one unless it's on champion kills. He's done more than enough of that.
Getting a lot of stats for free, that's for sure. That's all we can take away, really. Well, Baron buff is still in the back pocket of Legacy at this point. Sybil's looking for an angle. Make an entrance.
So it's 150 bonus range.
Not bad.
At the moment.
Well, that's an inhibitor down as well. So the issues do compound. Where can Legacy even find a fight? Where can they win a fight here? It feels like even if they get the perfect engage, Lamb's Respite is just going to shut that down, and then Swaith, once that pops, is going to start turning the fight back on its head. I mean, he's got an Infernal Soul. He's already blowing people up, but with an Infernal Soul on top of that, plus all that extra range, I just don't see the angle right now for Legacy.
And Kindred ults aren't really going to save you either, right? When you've got a Set and a Blitzcrank on the enemy team, even Zig's satchel charges. So, like, no matter how much time you spend inside the Lamb's Respite, you are probably going to get pushed away from it with all the displacement that's there from Chiefs. They really have got everything in this composition to close this game out and find the W. It's just getting very, very protracted in the way that it's happening. And considering Legacy are a team that are kind of do or die, you know, the way that they play out from a deficit is they're going to look for team fights and try and find the impossible angles. They have been doing that, and it has still, in a way, protracted this game out, but still dragging on a bit longer than I expected.
It looks like Chiefs are going to do it the old-fashioned way, slowly but surely shove all the waves in, get as many inhibitors down as possible, and then work their way to the victory. I think they're also sort of just hanging around, waiting for a nice hook from Dragku, which will really open the game up. Not finding anything too much. Legacy giving a lot of respect. So the Chiefs are more than happy to, again, just take the slower approach. Inferno Bomb will ensure that those waves continue to shove in the direction of Legacy.
Oh,
Sybil's getting a bit ambitious there.
He's just seeing angles. He saw it engaged. Oh my god, very. I think he was looking for maybe a flash smite, flash Q, but really that was just a fleeting illusion of an engage. It wasn't actually there. The Mirage goes away, however, as it goes back to base. Zig's ultimate also was used to cash in on a minion wave just prior to that one. There was nothing for them there other than the engage.
Yeah.
Desperation to say the least.
Well, Kisei's got an angle here. Doesn't actually quite hit the chain onto Emerald, at least not the first one, but the second does go through. Stopwatch keeps Emerald alive for a brief second and maybe for long enough. Kisei's been caught and he's deleted. Legacy might still have something to say about this game.
Oh. Draku's going to miss the red buff, just give an opportunity. It's not going to be there most likely for Winter to steal that one. We're still going to lock it down. Yeah, just zoning the red buff, just saying I could have hit you. And it was 900 gold, by the way, that whole shutdown that goes into the hands of Legacy. I didn't actually see... It was at Winterer?
Yep.
That's important. Serpent's Fang also there for the gangplank, so they're going to help with a bit of the shielding, particularly from Set and from Blitzcrank.
Is it enough to get Legacy back into this game? I think not. But a few more like that, and they might be in with a chance. So I think that's really the mentality they have to come with.
Usually the way that you would play from... Oh my god, here we go.
Swathe, is he in trouble? Or is it Sybil that's in trouble? We'll find out in just a second. The ultimate and the Lantern gets Sybil to relative safety as he dodges the Mega Inferno Bomb by the skin of his teeth. Plastic Slingshot keeps him safe. And Legacy, will they get out?
He's going to need another Lantern. Oh,
it's so ballsy.
So close to going down. Winterer needs to be careful now as well.
ML's just going to throw out a rogue death sentence, and sometimes you got to give that a crack, but wow, Swathe! That's a lot of damage.
A lot of range from all those marks, and look, the Zig's ultimate doesn't connect. It was just a pulse from the Ludens. You know, a wisp of damage does hit onto Sybil, but he's a magician this game, isn't he? Always finds ways to get out with his life intact. He's stolen Barons and had Lanterns left, right, and center, but it's still not something that's going to give them an avenue of entry to win this game. Kisei about to have a crack, but gets spotted by the ward, and for me, the entire game right now is being flipped around Elder Dragon. If Legacy get into the pit at all, then I would say that Chiefs have made a critical error. And you've got the Zac right now in Narnia by himself. He's probably going to get chased for the next 30 seconds, and if they kill him, then Elder is free.
I don't think he gets out of here alive. Kisei should be able to hit the chains on him. Sybil can't jump over that. Look at the damage right now. He's 3 levels down. He's 3 levels down on that mid laner. And he just gets blown up. In the meanwhile, Swathe and Lived are essentially 2v4 right now, and they seem pretty happy about it. Haymaker and the showstopper back in the other direction. Liv does fall very low, but inside the stopwatch survives. And it's the Swathe show at the moment. He just continues to pile on the damage. Winterer has to go scurrying away, but really, what does it matter? He's dead. Regardless, the Chiefs are going to chase him down. And that, I have to say, Rusty, is probably going to be the game.
Yeah, I mean, it takes us, 31 minutes to get the team fight, but this should be more than enough for Chiefs to close this game out. And the Classico just a little bit too one-sided this time around. I always enjoy seeing the signs of life from Legacy, the fight that's there, but not nearly enough today.
Yeah, unfortunate game for Legacy. It seemed to just snowball very quickly in the direction of Chiefs, despite the fact that it took them a long time to get it done. They have gotten it done in very convincing fashion, and I just saw Sway rubbing his hands together because I can only imagine he's wondering what he's going to order from DoorDash after he wins the player that delivered. I don't think there's any question about it this game. Either way, we will have to wait for official confirmation before we do give away that award. But, of course, the Chiefs coming away with a very, very nice victory. And you really can't say too much against them from that one. Like, how much can you read into that? When everything goes perfectly from the outset, they just make it look easy.
Yeah, there's things that we can highlight, right, on like an individual level, but I think overall as a team, there wasn't really any faulting the Chiefs. They were definitely just the better team on the day. And a lot of the things that I would bring up, right, were the 1v1s in mid, a couple of misplays from Kisei who's just being way too aggressive at times, and some individual misplays in general, but really those were drops in the ocean because they were already so far ahead, and the trades were always so good from Chiefs elsewhere on the map. So very hard to pull up and say this is a big mistake they need to fix immediately.
Well, speaking of misplays, a man that has never made a misplay in his life, Mac, is ready to join us for another conversation. And Mac, tell us, you predicted the Chiefs. You were very confident with them getting the win today?
Yes, I think I was about 63% confident if Twitch chat
Good to hear.
says it correctly. But look, it was a great game to watch. There was a whole lot of action, and I have had my questions about Kindred competitively, only because I haven't seen a whole lot of it go well for anyone here in the LCO. But Swaith is certainly putting in work. What do they have? 9 marks at, I think, like a 15-minute mark or something like that. That's ridiculous. That is complete and utter word I can't say on broadcast. But at the same time, it's interesting to watch. The man was just dishing out so much damage on such little HP. And again, he got himself so much work done in every single team fight. There were a couple of points where, yes, it looked like Legacy might have come back in. But from this point, I think they only got 1 kill. And it was just 9 minutes of Chiefs just sort of getting a pick here, a pick there. And then, of course, you had Sybil at the end, who needed to be active on the map to try to, win the game, but he got himself caught out. He wasn't there for Elder. Everyone else had to take a fight at that point, or Elder would have been gone. And the game would have been gone, but the game then was gone. So it was a little bit rough for Legacy, just letting it get a little bit too out of hand towards that 15-minute mark, and then it was just downhill from there.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we got to that point like halfway through the game where I was talking about 9 marks on the Kindred, and Rusty was losing his mind. We ended up with 15 marks, I think, there for Sway.
I think it was 16.
Was it 16?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, there you go. Even more. And it just gets worse and worse, I guess, for Legacy. As the game goes on, I feel like once Kindred hits this point, she's like almost critical mass and you can't stop her. And then she continues to scale even harder and even faster, and you just go, well, what do we do now?
I don't know. Just run away. Run away as fast as you can. Use Zach's ultimate to get to the other side of the map and just dodge every single team fight possible, but that's not going to win you the game, is it? I'll tell you what will. The 16k gold lead. That's nuts, Rusty.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the funny thing about this game, Mac, is everyone would want to say it was a bit of a jiffy-diffy, right? Like, a slight difference in the jungle role overall, but for me it was more about like how the draft influenced the early movements of their laners and how that influenced the junglers to really give Sybil nothing in this game. And then the freedom of Swaith to go where he would like, right? And that gets him the early marks and the early Scuttle Crab marks and starts to snowball the game that way.
Yeah, it's good to see that Swaith is able this split to play on a lot more of those champs that we historically have heard, or I've historically heard that he's very good at, those carry jungle champions, which he wasn't really able to play last split only because of the state of the meta. So it's interesting to see that. Now, someone else that's pretty interesting as well is Nat. Let's bring Nat back into the conversation. Tell me why you're pretty interesting and who you have down on the sidelines.
I don't know. I don't think I'm really good at talking myself up, so I'll let you guys think about why I am pretty interesting. But someone that is really interesting is Boma, going to be joining me. Congratulations on that win. I want to know a little bit about the Ziggs pick and like your comfort level on him.
Yeah, Ziggs is kind of a new champion for bot lane players, and I've been sort of trying to pick him up a little bit. He's definitely a bit more clunky than like the normal ADC champs, but I think he's really like strong. So I have fun playing Ziggs. I think it's a different type of champ, like in terms of how you play like fights and stuff. So it's pretty fun to play.
Yeah, I remember you saying a while ago that you really wanted to get off that Ezreal, and Ziggs is probably as different as you can get. So it's great to see you have a pretty good performance on him. But did the game as a whole feel pretty snowbally for you guys? Because that is how it looked for me, at least, definitely.
Yeah, I think this game was a bit weird because I felt like the Zach was sitting bot a lot of the game, so we had to tank a lot of pressure, and I think he got a couple of ganks off, which wasn't great. But I think our team's really good at playing for our jungler, and today, like, Sweat sort of showed what he could do, you know, if we're all, you know, there to help him, and he got, like, a ridiculous amount of marks, so yeah, I think we're functioning pretty well as a team, for sure.
He did. He absolutely popped off today, and you guys are looking exceptional as a team. But around that Baron fight, you guys did end up losing it to Legacy. Tell me a little bit about why you think that one went wrong, and then the mindset of the team after that one.
I don't know. Well, we were pretty like confident we were gonna win, and you know, even in scrims sometimes like we do a little trolling. So yeah, we sort of did a little trolling, and then they got Baron, and the game was a little bit. Maybe we'll lose now or something, but I think in the end we were pretty confident that we'd win. So yeah, I mean, kudos to them for sort of bringing it back.
Definitely, you guys had that confidence. It shone through, and you guys won the game. So congratulations again, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks, son.
Great to get that little insight again from Mboma. Now, Nat, I'll tell you why you're interesting, because this is your first year at Talent Work and you're absolutely killing it at the interviews. And that's all I got, boys. What did you come up with?
No, you took my one. That was literally my one. Sorry, man.
There you go.
There you go. At least I got something going for me.
Oh, Jordan's just staying silent. He's not.
I was just trying to think of something where I could
compliment her Lux. Say her Lux is very good.
Rib Nat about leaving League of Legends, but you know, I feel like she's never going to leave us. That's what I want, Nat. I want you to never leave us.
I won't.
So just make sure that doesn't happen. There's no better offer than LCO.
That's so true.
Well,
and
look,
it's nice that Jordan could say something nice after having a go at my prediction score earlier.
I just want to say that something else that's pretty nice, and someone else that won't have to leave the home too often, is Swaith. You want to know why? Because he is the DoorDash player that delivered. I don't think anyone is surprised by this, because he absolutely farmed up a storm there in the jungle today. 11, 1, and 8 with 67% kill participation and 16 marks in half an hour. That's ridiculous. The man just knew exactly where they were spawning, always finding them, and then also marking the right champs as well before going for those ganks. So big congrats to Swaith for being able to show off on Kindred today, Rust.
Yeah, absolutely. The Kindred pick, something that you don't often get to see, but he puts in some work on it. And like Mboma said in the interview, and like we said on the cast, Mac, it was a team effort that gets Swaith to be unleashed. And we all know that when you have like the perfect Swaith performance, it's usually a result of him getting a big jungle gap because his team enables him to do so. And definitely what we saw today.
Yeah, so just very good gank setups, very good performance from them, all things considered. And especially, you know, he hasn't had a chance to play all of his heroes yet, all of his champs yet either. So I'm keen to see if Chiefs are going to continue diversifying that champ pool as we go further in the split, especially with the couple of patch changes. I think we're on a new patch next week, so we can discuss that once we get there. Still for now, though, on patch 11.14, right?
Now is 11.13.
11.13. 11.14 next week. Well, that's going to be a damn good time. However, something else that's going to be a damn good time is Order and Gravitas. But to get there, we have to go to one more break. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far. Please enjoy the song of the day, Dane Core by Dane, and we will see you just after this.
Winter needs to be careful now as well.
And Mel's just going to throw out a rogue death sentence, and sometimes you got to give that a crack. But wow, Sway essentially 2v4 right now, and they seem pretty happy about it. Haymaker and the showstopper back in the other direction. Liv does fall very low, but inside the stopwatch survives.